All right. Welcome back to Black Ribbon Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Lee, and I'm joined by my lovely bride, Tanya,
Hi.
wife, darling, dear, usually when I'm in trouble.
It was not at all what you just called me, but that's okay.
You're right. And I called her woman
Yep.
because I was asking her what topic. And, well, I don't know. I said, what episode? I don't know.
And then I said, I think 17.
And
And you said, I need to start keeping track of something.
she would like a new Bronco,
Right, right
and
now they're trash. So now I don't want a
so
Bronco.
so she wants a new truck or car,
I want a cool one.
a convertible of some sort,
Something kind of bulky that
which
makes
is
me feel like tough.
which a new Jeep, or that can take the sides out or whatever.
They're making the Scout again.
So she wants a new truck, and we were watching this YouTube channel, and the guy on the channel had bought the person who does all his videoing and editing and all that stuff and promoting and handles all the social media stuff. And they, because he'd done such a great job, they bought him a brand new Bronco. And she says, "Well, I would like a new Bronco." I said, "Well, you need to start helping," because he said he bought him that because of his producing, editing, and in everything that he does.
I could take on the other side of all the other things I do that you don't have to mess with now.
True, but the situation was that this guy had done everything for his
I
YouTube
know, but
channel and
everything I'm
everything.
doing
So
is freeing you up to do the other stuff that you want to do. So I am helping quite a bit. Don't look at me like that.
yeah. Anyway, so that's an ongoing battle. We should start videoing these things, and that way they can see your eye rolls.
My eye rolls, your eye rolls, the
Yeah.
expressions you give. Seriously, they're no better.
Yeah, true. But anyway, so today's topic, we're towards the end of April,
We are.
and we're what, a week away.
Yeah, a handful of days.
So
Like truly a handful of days.
yes, today is April 24th,
Yes.
and May is Melanoma Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
Um, I don't know what we did last year, other than I posted something
Well, I started
on
strong.
Instagram.
I started strong. I did like a week um, of melanoma facts.
Yeah, yep.
And then honestly, it got busy. We had a kid graduating, and she had all these events and things, and work and appointments, and I just
Yep.
lost track.
I think I posted on my Instagram a couple times a week about the facts or what I was doing or something like that. Pictures of memes or whatever that I found about melanoma. But the a cool thing happened, and I don't have this podcast on a social media platform. I mean, we broadcast it out and onto two, right now only two platforms. Um, but what what happened was, because I post on um, my smoking bears, smoking underscore bears underscore, hint hint, Instagram account, that my journeys and stuff, and a lady hit me up. Her and another lady are putting together like a montage, a collage of sorts. And let me just, I'm not going to say the lady's name, But she sent me a message on Instagram, and she says her dear friend blank. Uh, I'll just keep it anonymous, but and I would like to invite you to be in a collage of melanoma survivors this May. A little about us. Her friend blank is a three-time melanoma survivor and lost her younger sister to melanoma. Each May, her friend and her do a fundraiser benefiting skin cancer organizations and a giveaway full of sun safety products. It's important to us to honor those that have seen the diagnosis. If you would like to participate, send a pic and the age of your diagnosis, like how old you were. Okay. Also, and then she asked what I go by so they can tag me in the thing. So I was like, yeah, I go by by Lee, and that I was 44 years old when I was diagnosed. And I sent a picture that I took because every time I went in for immunotherapy, I would take a picture of me and wherever the IV was that was giving me the drugs.
Right.
I always put my arm out and tried to get that into the shot. And so I sent one of those. It was towards the end, but it wasn't the end. But it was towards the back half of treatments. And I sent that to her. So and she said she appreciated me being a part of it. And I said, this is a wonderful idea. Thank you for asking me to join in this. And she's like, I'm thankful that you are public about your melanoma diagnosis. And we were talking at group last night, and I, you kind of ask yourself many times, what am I here to do? Why am I still here? And I always thought it was because I've got more useless information to teach my kids that they're not ready to take on the world by themselves. And with our oldest one who's trying, and our middle daughter who's trying, they're not fully there yet.
Right.
I think they could survive.
I think they all could survive.
Not a zombie apocalypse type deal,
Right.
but I think they can. I think they could.
Will have some missteps, and they are having
Yes,
some missteps.
yes. Just and so we're the in this not diagnosis, in this journey, this chapter that I'm in, I've become very raw, blunt, and no BS. If it
Sometimes
smells,
you really need to rein it in a little bit.
I know, and it's one of those that I might be the best thing to happen to you, but I'm also the worst. The time that we're together, it's gonna be, you know, it can be rough and vulgar and raw and emotional. Like there's no. Sometimes it's out before it bounces around my head.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, oops, that was out loud. Or an hour later, it was like, oops, that's out loud. Um, so I mean, you ask yourself, like, it came up about this. Why was it me that went through this stage? Why was mine not as bad as others? Why was mine, why this situation at this time in life, given that what 6 years ago I had neck surgery, right after I got sober, and then it just seems like every couple years, boom, 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 boom.
It seems like we've been on a roller coaster since 17. Like, we sent our first kid to college in 2016, and then starting in 2017, you had your surgery, and then It was one thing after another, after another,
So
and
so
just when
for
we would settle, we'd pop back in.
so just to give you in in 2000 into 2016, I was having problems with my shoulders, one of my shoulders, and we got to looking, and they found a ruptured disc in my neck. C7, five,
They
six.
fixed C4 to C6.
So
They fused that together.
they
So probably C5.
we were going through all the stuff, preliminary stuff, and I was having trouble at work, and they said, no, 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 you need to quit working today. So I that was it. I was done. Okay, so we go in, like the only time we get in for surgery was like 3 or 4 weeks later.
Hmm.
It was crazy. So when they went in for surgery, they said that disc is not only, I mean, it's gone. There was only fragments left. He said if you'd have hit your head really hard, you could have been paralyzed or dead because there was nothing there.
Yeah, the spinal column itself was so pinched, just from the disease and just from the injury, that they were like, "This is much worse than they thought it was." But luckily, they were able to fix it, and you went through therapy, and
Yeah,
you've had no issues with it. Like some people really struggle,
yeah.
but you were very lucky. You didn't.
I mean, I still have some issues when I eat that I still
Mhm.
cough and some stiffness here and there or whatever. But aside from that, like right after that, and went through all that therapy and was starting to get back to going, um, it just a series of things. And wow, and then and I was talking to the group last night, and I was like, you know what? I'm going through this season right now to show or to be able to tell the story, to be able to bring awareness, to be able to say it's not all doom and gloom. That hey, you may be in a bad situation, but at least your body's not trying to kill you,
Right.
kind of thing.
Well,
So
and being mindful that, yeah, this sucks, and the unknown sucks, and we know that we've been very lucky so far, but that doesn't mean it will always last like that. Um, but there are people who are having it much worse, and there are
absolutely,
people having it much better.
yes,
So given what we know about the prognosis, and I was thinking about this, and he told us 5 years. You always say six, but it's five. Um, and I'm like, holy crap! This started December 2020 that we found it. So
yeah,
is that the start of our 5 years, really?
yeah,
Or is it the start of when you saw him? Was that the start of the 5 years? And I can't wrap my brain around that because I'm like, oh crap, that makes this December 3 years that we know you've had cancer.
yep, and
And I'm still thankful that you acted all crazy, like a crazy man with your head, because it could have grown even more, in that time frame of waiting for the biopsy to come back and
yep,
not having any answers. And maybe it would have been a different story because we
because
don't know how long that tumor was there. It's
I
like,
I've known people that have gone in and hey, I don't feel good, something's off, and they go in and they're like, oh shit, you got stage 4 and you're down to 6 months.
right.
And yeah, mine was stage 4 metastatic because it traveled from the lymph node to
Well, it traveled
the
from your
brain,
skin to the lymph node to a major organ.
so it moved.
Yeah, on the same side.
Yeah, so
And you're also BRAF positive. I know that doesn't mean much to you, but it means it is more aggressive.
okay, I was gonna say I don't know what BRAF
Yeah,
positive means.
BRAF positive cancers are more aggressive cancers than others.
So in I was talking, listening to a conversation that, and they were talking about the guy that had colon cancer, no, bladder cancer, and the other guy was like, I don't understand how you can go from non like nothing's there, non-detected, to all of a sudden you're laid out with stage 3 or stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, how does that happen? And so we'll bring that up because I wanted to say something then, but I was it was a the it was just the wrong time. So with that, I mean, most of people know that your cancer cells are like, if you think of the cell kind of like the head of a push pin, about the head of that, and you got bazillions of them in your body, right? Well, they're traveling all over. And then if you remember, like in high school, when somebody'd say, "Hey, we're having a kegger," everybody showed up. That's kind of what happens. Your body says, a couple of your cells get together and say, "Hey, we're having a big kegger." Every cancer cell travels to that spot, and now it makes it to a cluster, and now it's detectable, like when they do the scans. Is that kind of right?
I don't know. I don't know how it all works.
That's
I
the
don't
way.
know how
That's
your
the way
body
that I.
decides
That's the
to
way that I
attack.
understood it, was from the oncologist. Of course, he used a way better explanation, but that's the way it made sense to me in my scattered,
Yeah, I think you know
scrambled egg brain.
we're all born with cancer cells,
Yes,
and so the difference is yours are activated where mine are not,
right.
and so yours are active, and yours want to have a party, and they want to dance, and they
So
want to do all the stuff.
when they say, "Hey, party over here," you travel to the cells will travel to that spot that's having the party, and once you get a certain amount of cells
That make it enough.
coming together, then it makes
Hmm.
it big enough to, like, just like the those push pins. It makes it the party big enough that it's the size of your thumb, and then like it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and you may not have any other symptoms because you don't hear the music.
Yeah.
You just catch the aftermath of the party, and you're like, whoa, this is like in the movies when the party gets out of hand, and like in American Pie when the party's out of hand, and they're like, whoa, what do we do now? The cops are getting called, and that's when you're in the ER, or the doctor, or
Yeah, I always wonder like how long they were growing in you and we didn't know. And then I'm thankful that the one under your arm was closer to the surface because
yeah,
had it been embedded like in between organs or something, we might not have found that.
yep, and that's the scary part
So
about some organs, that you just are like, I don't know what's going on, and
because you would not have gone to the doctor for having a lot of stomach upset or having a weird feeling in your
and
stomach without
unless
another reason.
unless it was like, I can't walk.
Right.
Like, if I could work through it, I would have, and I tried. I tried with my brain being scrambled. I tried to work,
Hmm.
and my motor skills were.
You were shuffling. I mean,
I mean, I was like,
basically, we could see, or visually, we could see something was wrong. Um,
I
and
was like 100-year-old man trying to shuffle
and
around.
talking to you,
Yeah.
we could see it. But here's the tricky thing: is like I we didn't spend a lot of time together because of our work schedules.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
we'd see each other on the fly. And in a 5 minute conversation, it wasn't always noticed that you couldn't form your words because you also struggled with forming words when you're really tired or when you're really stressed or and you're
Right.
annoyed. So it was hard to separate that. I mean, I feel bad now. I did not feel bad then when when we found the one under your arm in December of 2020 and they tested you for all the COVID things. And I gave you a lot of grace, like, oh gosh, she's really sick. And I felt really bad for you at that point. But when it continued into May, I was like, oh my, can you please get over yourself? Nothing was wrong with you.
Yeah.
What's up with all these naps? Like, all
I
you
just
do is sleep and work now.
yep. I just had this, and I was like, I don't know. I'm just tired.
It really felt like you were just pulling away. Like you were
Yep.
so annoyed that you were just pulling away. And I'm like, I don't even know what I
Which
did. But
which I mean, to the audience, it may sound odd, but I've been um, battling depression for years, for decades,
mm-hmm.
and so I would do that where something would get in me this time of year, and it'd be like 3 weeks, a month, where I just have to
Well,
not really. I
you
would
didn't
just
really
kind of.
care about doing anything. I
I would
mean,
just be like, no, I don't want to do that, and I'd sit around. But at this point,
and that's where I thought you were. I was like,
yeah,
whatever.
at this
This is
point, I
lasting
wasn't.
long enough.
This point, I wasn't sitting around drinking like I had prior.
No,
Um,
years prior,
yeah,
not like
I'd been
just recently, but
at this point, I'd been what, 5 years sober, 6 years sober. So it was just different. So I had the same. I don't want to say habits or traits,
you kind of have the same triggers. I mean,
but I wasn't trying to solve it that way.
no.
And I didn't know, so I would just shut down and go lay down or go into the room
Mhm.
by myself and
Well, and I'm like,
get
hey,
away.
do you want to go do this? And you're like, no, I'm tired. And that became the excuse. And that was your excuse prior. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sit at
Yep.
home the whole time you're tired.
So
So I'm
so
going
at
to go do everything.
so at this time, I was physically tired, like wore out, and not knowing why, because I was sleeping and melatonin or whatever, and no, I wasn't on melatonin then. But
No.
anyway, I was trying to sleep, but I was always tired, and it was just abnormal. But I was like, the body's going through some changes, whatever.
Well, and I thought that it had to do with things like the kids were getting older and you were getting older and, you know, your cousin had passed away just prior. And I really thought all of that had a
That it was more depressional
there
than it
was more
was.
depressional that like something was wrong. I couldn't fix it. Because we had talked about your medicine.
Yep.
Like, do we need to adjust something? Do we need to take something away? Do we need to change something? And you were like, stop, nothing's wrong. And I'm like, okay, well then, you know
Like I
what?
wasn't,
You sleep it away.
and I was trying to be honest and be like, it's not depression.
But
That wasn't the, but you don't know. You're thinking that that's what it was
well, and
because
when
that's what it had been.
yeah, I was gonna say when you started with depression,
Yeah.
it took you a long time to acknowledge this is what depression feels like
Yes.
and that it's okay to go get some help to deal with this. That took you a long
A long time.
time.
A long time to be able
Like you
to go
didn't
get
want to
help.
hear any ideas about it because you had it handled. So I thought
And
this was you
then you get
again.
older and you can't handle stuff like you used to.
This was you again saying, "Don't worry about me. I got it handled."
And then
It
surprise,
triggered me in a
negative way.
negative way.
Yep. And that's understandable because it was pretty rocky for that time before, that period before. But so it was the tiredness was probably the biggest trigger, or not trigger, but sign. And then it was motor skills,
Hmm.
the cognitive stuff. I mean, I was driving home 35 minutes, not even knowing how I got home. I woke up the next day going, how'd I get here? Because I was working nights. Get up that night, and I'm like, how'd I get home? I have no
Mhm.
idea.
I remember the day you called and said, I'm coming home. I said, do I need to come and get you? Because I knew you were not okay
Yep.
and I didn't have my hand on it. I couldn't figure it out. I knew something was wrong and I said, do I need to come and get you? And you said, no. I'm like, I will.
And I talked to my supervisor that day, there shortly after, and he said, I should have never let you drive home. Because when I walked in the door, I walked out on the floor. He looked at me and he said, no, go get some coffee and don't come out of that room or out of the break room until it's time to go home. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll make it. I'll make it. And this was almost like you've ran on 36 hours of no sleep, is how I was feeling
And at that time, I'm like,
after getting out of bed.
you were working and you came right home and went to bed.
Yep.
And you
Well,
got up
at that time,
basically about right before you had to go to work. It wasn't like
yeah. So,
it
I
wasn't like
mean,
you were only getting 5 or 6 hours and no, you were in bed
I was in
all
bed
day.
9 to 10 hours at a time and just out of it. But, I mean, the cognitive stuff, I mean, I didn't remember nothing.
No. And
Motor, like,
I think
and
that's probably the biggest thing that you've kept. There's still some cognitive stuff.
the cognitive stuff
It gets better.
cuts in and out.
Mhm.
Some days are better than others. Like
Well,
today, I've been really good with it today.
and there's different things. Your time management
It's not there.
is horrible. And it's not
And
your fault.
by to give you an idea, I mean, we talked about this last night, and so I went out Wednesday last, no Thursday last week, Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember. But anyway, I went out to cut grass. Now I had on my son's shirt, I had on my pajama pants, and I put on my house slippers.
I still
Why
don't
I
know
don't
why.
know,
Okay.
but I walked out the garage door with the intent. I think I was going to put my boots on
Yeah,
because I
I
keep
don't
my work
know.
boots in the garage.
Yes, your work boots are in the garage.
But I walked out the garage door, the from the house into the garage through the kitchen there, and then I walked to the big door and I opened the big door. I turned and looked at the mower and completely drew a blank. Completely drew a blank and went on and did something else. Spent the next 5.5 hours pillow farting around in the garage. I cleaned some stuff up. I pulled some cook grates out of the drums and pulled them around, and I was cleaning those, and I was doing a bunch of other stuff and going through some cabinets and throwing stuff away, and so I was busy. And then I was I'd sit down on the couch in there, and I'd read a little bit, and get up and do some more stuff, and I'd go out and I'd hose off the. So I was doing stuff, and then I was like, oh man, it's 9 o'clock at night. I was going to cut grass. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. So the next day I get up and I do the same thing. And I walked out and I opened the big garage door, and I turn around, complete blank.
Yeah.
And I'm standing right in front of the mower. And I draw a complete blank, and I'm like, I don't know what I was going to do. And I go and I do other stuff that I didn't finish the day before. Messing around, cleaning out cabinets, sorting through stuff, throwing stuff away that
Busy
doesn't,
work.
yeah, that doesn't, stuff that needs done, but I haven't been in the right space to do it. And, well, then we're right into the weekend. It gets about time to come in, start looking at dinner, and gone.
Well, what
Oh,
I
I was going to
noticed.
cut grass. So,
Yeah.
so then it's Saturday, and I've got stuff all day Saturday planned, so I'm not cutting grass Saturday. We got some rain, and the weeds are knee high, and I'm like, holy crap, dude. So yeah, I got up today. That was my goal today. I woke up this morning and I said, coffee, grass, coffee, grass. And I got up, I drank 2 cups of coffee, and before I finished the second one, I topped it off and I went in and went out and I started cutting grass. And then I realized there's so many pine cones, those are just going to destroy my blade. So I had to go stop, pick up the pine cones, and then finish cutting grass.
Well, and to anyone who's interested, like that is kind of the highest level of your physical activity. I mean, you'll walk,
Yeah,
but pushing a mower and walking on uneven ground and just the repetition of that and the continuation of that, that's kind of your end piece. Like you couldn't cut the neighbor's grass after cutting ours.
yeah, I could. Yeah,
I
yeah,
not,
I was,
but it might.
because like we got done today, and then a buddy of mine came by and wanted to go to Costco, which is up in Charlotte, and it's about 30 minutes away,
Yeah.
35 minutes away. And so I rode with him, and we walked around all over Costco.
Yeah, but I don't know if you could push a
And
mower, and then if you did in the evening, you'd be like, oh,
I would
I'm
probably,
so tired. My legs hurt. My body hurts.
I
My
would
arms
probably
hurt.
feel it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Would be
that's what I mean. Like
because that's where
it's kind of like the
the
height
two,
of your physical activity,
yeah, because like
strength-wise.
the 2 days that I spent busy work out in
Hmm.
the garage, the next day I was like, oh, I should go cut grass, but man, I am wiped out. And I didn't take a nap those 2 days. I've been very good on my naps. But I did take one about a 45-minute nap
Hmm.
the next day. So the third day. So
Yeah,
I'm kind of trying to push myself a little bit more in that aspect of let's just get up and go do something. And whether it's just busy workouts out in the garage, which needs a lot of busy work, but
well, like I noticed, like just your time management. You struggle so bad. I see it on Sunday mornings when you're getting ready to do the YouTube.
yeah,
You drink your coffee. Like you don't get up in time. You get up at a good time that if somebody was planning, they could handle it.
yeah,
But you get up and then you drink coffee and about 8:15, 8:20, you start running around like a
it's a mad
chicken with
it,
your head cut off.
it's a mad dash because
But
and
part of it's because maybe one of the kids said, "I'll help you, Dad," and then they fell asleep, or what have you. But in that time, and what you don't see is one, you look crazy
well, I do see it and I
because
feel it, but it's that part is because there's you disappear and you're off studying or in the bath or whatever because you disassociate from it completely,
but
and then the kids are supposed to be there to help me and they're knocked out.
right, I
So
understand that.
where
But
I'm like, hey, I need help, and
um,
that's where you get on me about you got to ask for help, and when I say, hey, I need help, it's like to do what? And then when we know the same thing, we've been doing it for 2 years. So then when you do come down to help and you just stand there, well, what do you need? Do I need to tell you every little thing?
yes,
We've no. We need the laptop.
let me.
Where's the cord? Like
Okay,
all this stuff.
my
So
turn now. Um, and I guess what I'm saying is when it doesn't run the way you think it should run, you're not good at adjusting your time frame to fit that. You still maintain the I can get this done. And then I came down, I said, I didn't know Nolan wasn't up. I heard her moving. And the other person that's supposed to help you, I didn't know he wasn't there. So I came down, I was like, oh, I just realized that there's an issue. And then that's when I was like, what do you need? Because I don't know what you've done already. You had everything pretty much set up, and I
yes,
asked the question. But it's for that minute. Even if we were all down there eager to help you, And just, for the record, I rarely help with the Sunday morning. So you shouldn't be counting on me
Nope.
to be the helper. But
In that aspect, I'm the bad one for not asking for help, and then when I do,
when you ask me for help, babe,
it's
I do
okay. I'll
help
help
you.
you,
But tell me what you need
but
me to do. Because every
but
day it's a different
it's the
thing.
standing around waiting for, hey, I need that, and that, and then we get the second that, and not anyway. We're not going to get into this.
No,
So
but
it's
it's harder for you to adjust things. If I
it's
say that we're leaving at 5 o'clock, planning,
I I have to plan a lot
yes, that's
more in
harder
advance.
for you. That's all I'm saying.
I have to plan a lot more in advance, and I do make lists, and it is hard for me to ask for help. And when I do ask for the help, it's what it's not what do I need to do and step in and fill in that spot. It's the got to give the absolute direction where it's just faster to step over and do it myself.
Well, and
So
honestly, no, because it just kind of sounded like I don't pay attention. But there are a lot of times that I say, "What do you need?" And you're like, "I don't know." Well, if you can't tell me what you're looking for or what you're needing, then I can't read your mind to provide the help that you need because I don't know what you're doing.
and sometimes the thoughts are like little butterflies. So when it lands, boom, we got it. But otherwise,
Yeah.
it's dancing around, and I know that,
So
and I know
it's
that,
kind of hard to give the
and
help unconditionally.
that's what makes it more frustrating on my part because I can tell you what I need, and we're still standing around chatting and
Or
not doing it because the thought it didn't land. I don't know. Anyway,
or it or it
that's
can be one
as
of
you
those
as you can tell, it's kind of a sore subject on that one. But
or it can be one of those things where I know what you need, but you haven't said it. And if I jump around it, you're like, you don't even know what I need. Well, I think I do know what you need, but you danced around your words a lot. But your gesture and what you have going on tells me you might need X, Y, and Z, but you haven't asked for it yet. Do I get it?
but there's
Do I not? Because then it's also if you're struggling with I don't know if you're struggling with how to make something, and I think you're gonna need this. You're like, how do you know? You don't even know what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, because you have three of the four ingredients out, and you're trying to think what that last one is. So I mean, it's a hard thing to kind of anticipate your needs and where you are in a process because I just don't know.
and I think it depends on that particular situation.
Absolutely, it's not every day,
No,
and
because
it's not every day that you ask for help and you
there's
don't
days
get
where you're
it.
like, I don't know what he's doing. I'm just gonna sit here and wait,
Yeah,
and then I'll say,
yeah,
hey, I need this, and then
okay,
we're gone.
or it's
So
okay.
so it's hard to give the direction and specifically say step by step. That part I don't have.
No.
That part of multitasking I haven't retained.
Well, and if we interrupt you in the
So
thought process, it's over too. Because
yeah,
that's the multitasking is to step
and
back and be interrupted and come back into it.
yeah. So perfect example. My one of my longtime buddies come into town Saturday night, and there was something that happened. I mean, it's probably been 25 years ago.
It has not been that long. I was there. Well, it
23,
was right before me.
23 years
23,
ago.
24. I guess.
So right around there. So this event happened, and I was young, dumb, and
And you knew what you were doing.
I don't remember any of it. I mean, I remember I have one vague sentence out of that whole night that I remember. And the only thing I remember was we were over his parents' place and we were cooking steaks. And I don't remember any of that. The only thing I remember is cutting into the steak and making the cow noise. Like as I was cutting. And we called the cow's name was Rudy because it came from a family farm who raised a cow. And that's all I remember is, and I would cut into it going, Rudy. That's all I remember the whole night.
Mhm.
Well, turns out, I had used a lot of lighter fluid, which is a big no-no. I know that now. I've learned that since moving south. Uh, but I'd used a lot of lighter fluid on this grill, and the next day his dad came home and opened the grill and smelled the burnt lighter fluid and was like, okay. And it was an offset cooker, so I had used it as a regular charcoal grill, which was a no-no to begin with, but can be dealt with. But I had used a lot of lighter fluid in it, and now that, for people who don't know, that leaves an aroma inside the cooker, like on the walls and in the what barbecue guys call seasoning. It's all the creosote that's on the walls of the cooker. And so then the next time you cook on it, it'll give it an acrid, off-putting taste. So he told my buddy, he said, you got to clean that down to bare metal. Well, I keep getting, he reminds me of that, reminds me of that, reminds me of that. But the envision in my head, I don't remember that grill at all. I had a brick chimney style grill, like I'm talking 8-10 feet tall,
Like a pit.
like 24 inches wide, and it kind of went up about 18 to 24 inches, narrowed in, and that's where the cook grate was. So you had the fire open at the bottom, then you had some brick, and then you had a cook grate, and then it went on up to a chimney about 8-10 feet tall. And then you'd build your little fire there, and you'd keep throwing little logs or whatever to keep it going, and or shoveling coals in there, whatever. And that heat would go up, and that's how you'd cook the brisket. And my buddy looked at me and he said, "Nah, nah." I said, "Yeah," and I could point out where it was on the property. Like he showed me a picture because they sold the property in the house, and I pointed out. I said, "It was right here." Nah, there was never. I said, "Yes." No, never. It was never there.
He said it was my dad's house. I know what was there. It is not there.
He said, "We cooked on that thing right here." And I was like, "No, I'd only seen the inside of that garage once. And we never had it. There wasn't no cooker there. You had this." And he said, "No, no." He goes, "And I had to get in there with a wire brush." And so I'm thinking, in my head, 25 years or 20 years, whatever it's been, I'm picturing like one of those little toothbrush brass wire brushes.
Mhm.
And a little black handled one, and that's what I envisioned that he had to clean this brick pit with to get all
A
that
huge brick pit.
yeah, to get all that creosote off this inside of this fireplace chimney thing. Now, I said, "Yeah, no." So we sat at this restaurant 6.5 hours,
Mm.
and
We paid them well.
I have been holding on to this. There's been so much anxiety I can't even explain it, and ill feeling because I screwed up and made his dad mad, and and he had to fix it. I mean, there's just been so much. I can't even explain it. There's been so much um, disorientation that's been in my psyche for all this time. And he tells me it was a steel pit. He shows me a picture of one, and he goes, "Yeah, it was just like this." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." 6.5 hours later, I mean, 3 days later, and I'm still baffled.
He's still very much. No, it was brick. I know
I,
it was brick.
I mean, completely baffled. So, and I don't remember the night because I was young and we were drinking heavy, real heavy. I'm not gonna lie. So now, I mean, we're sitting there and we're in the middle of a conversation, and I am just, I mean, my mind is just blank, blank, looking at the wall, not even the TV, a spot on the wall beside the TV at the restaurant, completely blank, and the only thing I think of is, what the hell? What the? I missed majority of our conversation because I couldn't wrap my mind around what the heck was going on because it just baffled me so much.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's times where they were talking and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I zoned out because I was dumbfounded." And so, I mean, that happens. I forgot where I was going with that.
I was going to ask that very question, but I don't know what you need.
That happens quite a bit. I was texting the group and the church group, and I made a comment, and before I could finish it, it was gone. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know where I was going with that."
I don't know what you need. See how it works? If you don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I don't know. So with May's Melanoma Month coming up,
Hmm.
what are what have you thought about doing for social media posts for awareness?
Well, we need to find some stats because it's kind of alarming how prevalent melanoma is,
One in
and
five.
and what what it really looks like because everyone's like, oh well, I couldn't have melanoma. I don't have a funny mole. Well, you didn't either.
Right. It is.
So it's more than skin deep.
That's what I was looking for.
It
Yep.
is more than skin deep. It affects a lot of other things. And so, maybe just information on what to look for and what could be signs and how prevalent it is and how much time you really can spend in the sun and the value of sunscreen and good sunscreens. Like I'll only buy Blue Lizard now because I know it's what they recommend for you.
Mhm.
The importance of skin health and watching sun damage,
Getting checked.
getting checked, doing all the things. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be in the sun. It means you got to be smart.
So I found this a while back, and I saved this picture, and it's ABCDE rule for early detection of melanoma.
Hmm.
I'll let you read that.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Well, the first word I don't know how.
Oh, A is asymmetry. So when your mole is in a perfect circle, when all the like if you put a grid on it, if all the segments are different, asymmetry.
Okay.
So not symmetrical.
Okay.
Borders, the outer edges are even. So it kind of looks like you hacked through it with a serrated knife.
Okay.
They're not smooth. It's kind of jagged.
Okay.
Color, dark black, or they have multiple colors.
And one of the things they said was like you'll have one that is like a lighter shade of brown, and then a dark, dark, dark center,
Right, and it has,
or it changes colors
or it changes.
from.
Like, I have a really dark one on my shoulder, but it has always been really dark. It hasn't changed.
Right.
I was born with this dark thing. For me, it's not a concern.
Right. And when you go get naked in front of the guy and he's looking with what's that eyeglass thing? The
I don't know what it
magnifier,
is.
the jeweler's magnifier, and it's got a little light on it. And I mean, I had a couple that I've had forever, but I was like, hey, can you look at this? And he's like, yep, you're good. You know, and there's a couple of them that have changed color, but he's like, nope, you're good.
So, oh, D, diameter,
Yep,
greater
sorry.
than 6 millimeters. So just having a bigger size. And E, evolving, changing in size, shape, and color. If it oozes, get it checked. If it looks different than it did, get it checked.
Yep. If it bumps up, that I noticed a few of mine had done.
I have a couple that have bumped, but everything else is good.
Well,
And
I'd
so
had
I'm
a
not
couple that,
super concerned with them because they're light. They are symmetrical.
yeah,
They're the same size.
where it used to be smooth, and then it bumped up to like the height of a quarter, like
Mhm.
the width of a quarter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just
Is
like a couple
the
the
thickness
thickness.
of a quarter, and then you're able to like scratch your arm, or you know you do something and it gets scratched, and then it pulls it off, and then you're like, oh shoot. Well, you don't know if all of that's gone or if it's the roots are still there that can be
Right.
what's the cancerous. I was trying to think of the other term,
Malignant.
malignant or carcinogen.
What?
No, I don't know. I don't.
You might be saying a word. I just don't know what that one is.
I don't know, but it means cancerous. So
Bless you. Bless you.
I'm allergic to BS, so I'm talking. So sorry about that. Ugh. But so what else? What else you got for awareness?
Well, I put black in my hair.
Yep. So you got some black strands added to
I
your.
got my melanoma hair in. So, okay, I'm pretty fair. My coloring is pretty fair. If I would go all black, I would look like Elvira or something. Not near like as hot as Elvira, because like girl is shapely. But color wise, I would look like Elvira. So I couldn't go full black. So I did take it in and I said, okay, here's what I want. And we did kind of a black glaze in there and mixed it up. So it's much, much darker. And there's a little bit of black in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's my melanoma hair.
And I recruited my youngest daughter, Cub, to dyeing my beard black, and she was like, "How dark do you want to go?" And I said, "Pitch black." So we had joked around and laughed about dyeing a ribbon in the back of my head, but we did not do that. Maybe next year. Maybe
Yeah,
next year.
yeah.
So
I have black toenail polish on.
oh, I might do one like my thumbnail or something.
Yeah, I have
But
black.
we I also had gotten a ribbon cookie cutter, and I don't really like this one because the center is not attached at all, so it's free floating.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Well, babe, can I ask you how it would be attached?
like on the top, like some of them have where they have
Oh,
the
on the
little, yeah,
outside. Okay,
like
on the
a
top side of it. One
like
side's not attached and one side is.
yes, that's
Okay.
what I was hoping for, and it's not. It's free floating, so that's kind of a bummer. But what I tried to do was I smoked a brisket flat, and I put this on there, and I was trying to, and I should have cut around it to get it to fit in there right. But long story short, I put this cookie cutter on there and used a hardcore carnivore black seasoning with more black pepper. So we had a black brisket flat, and the ribbon didn't show up. I was bummed. So there's two ways to fix it. So I'm gonna try something different again. But then I took a foil pan and a small one, and laid that cookie cutter down and traced it out, and then cut it out. Took that to your sister and brother-in-law when they came in. They brought this when they came in for Christmas. His work always gives him like a little tin of candied.
Nuts. Chocolate covered peanuts, a party mix. Oh my goodness, it's
Yep.
delicious.
So they were going to throw the tin away, and I was like, no, no, we'll hold on to that. Why? I don't know. But in my head, I had a reason for it. Fast forward all these months later, ya boy traced out 5 ribbons on the bottom of it. I cut the bottom out with a can opener. Traced out 5 ribbons and got my cutting my tin snips out and cut out 5 ribbons. Just sat outside in the shade, and by shade I mean shade from the house. So there was no like sun coming in through the tree leaves or anything like that. And with a Dremel tool and went over all the edges, deburred everything, made it nice and smooth. Came in, cleaned them up, and washed them up so they're ready to use. So the idea is that I can put this ribbon down on top of it, season, pull that off, and then I'll have a bare spot where the ribbon was,
Mm-hmm.
which would give me a melanoma, whatever, or like a ribbon awareness or whatever.
Right.
So that's the plan. We'll see. I will have to let you know next week how that works.
Okay, so do you remember last week when I told you that I found a tapestry?
Yes.
Okay, here it is. You ready?
Okay.
It's still. I think it's just as powerful as it was then. It says, "Kiss your life, accept it just as it is, today, now, so that those moments of happiness you're waiting for do not pass you by. Kiss your life today, now, just as it is."
Hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we could sit and talk only about the bad things, but that's not going to help us.
And I'm trying to, and I know every warrior's situation is different, but for me, we wouldn't be as close relationship wise as we would have been if we didn't have cancer.
No, I mean, gosh, we've been thrown together for 2.5 years.
We wouldn't be like all the blessings that we've had, and there's been a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
and it is hard to find those when you're going down the road, and you think it's sunny and all that, but there's not. Like you look at the other, like your neighbor's grass, and it's always greener on the other side, but when you get to the other side, the air's not breathable,
Right. There's always something else.
or it's fake, or the grass is fake.
Mm-hmm.
And the you remember the movie Facing the Giants?
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful things that came out of that movie for me was when the preacher was going and praying on all the lockers for
Mm-hmm.
every student. And the coach comes to him and is telling him, hey, everything's falling apart, yada, yada, yada. And he says, whenever one door closes, another one opens, and it'll be it's time, whatever. And shoot, I just lost it.
And I cannot help you.
But he tells him, he says, you've got to prepare your fields. He tells him a little story about the farmer who goes out and prepares his fields, and everybody's off, doing whatever. And he's like, nope, I got to work. I got to prepare my fields. I got to prepare. And they're like, we're in a drought. He goes, you got to go out and prepare your fields. I feel like that's what I need to do. That's part of what I'm doing is preparing the field, because if I would have left this earth 2 years ago, y'all'd be a mess.
Mhm.
A complete train wreck. Nobody would be talking to each other. It would be a mess. And I think this is preparing those fields to get all the angst, all the bad energy, all the dad 101 stuff that I call it out of the way. Like we saw it when your dad passed. It
Yeah.
just destroyed everything.
Mhm.
Everybody was a loss for words and just didn't know what to say to anybody. And and I could easily see that happening. I mean, it's completely normal thing.
Right.
It happens so often, and I have to be, and I'm that's part of the reason why I'm so blunt and raw. Other than I have no filter and all that, I think got cut out.
Well, but sometimes
I
we got
think
to take 10 seconds.
I think radiation fried that part.
10 seconds. I'm going to up you officially to 10 seconds. When you want to say something crass, let me think about it for 10 seconds.
Most time I don't even know what I'm saying. It just says. But I think that's part of it is we have to, especially with the kids, and I'm terrible at that because I am raw and I'm rough and I'm like, let somebody else's drama be somebody else's drama. Life is too short to get caught up in things that don't matter.
Uh, and I kind of like that you're taking this part on. And I think, and I'm standing back a little bit more
Yeah.
um, because
Like
I've been doing it.
our roles as
And
as parents in the household, for the longest time I had it wrong. I admit I had it wrong. I had it as being a dad was you're there for the you're there, but it was kind of like the Wonder Years. You go to work, you come home, you have dinner, you read your newspaper, you watch TV, you go to bed.
mhm,
You spend a little time with the kids, you go out, you toss the ball every other Saturday or whatever, and then but through the week though, I mean you still had to cut the grass, you had to do whatever guy stuff, and you made sure that the
mhm.
the house was paid for. And if you sat down and you had a few beers while you were reading the newspaper, so be it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I mean, you left a lot
So
of
the
the raising
the raising the
and the
kids,
homework and the trials and the tribulations and the girl
yep,
drama
yep, all
and
that stuff
that
was,
emotional stuff. That was my area.
and my interpretation was that was mom's duty,
Mhm.
and I had it wrong. I had it wrong, and it took me way too long to realize that. And by the time I realized that, the oldest one was going to college, and so there was a lot of ground that had to be covered. When she got out of college, moved back in with us because she had nowhere to go. She
Well,
just graduated.
she had just graduated. It
Just
wasn't.
graduated.
She was working on it, and then
Yeah.
COVID hit.
And then yes, so that December, and then everything shut down in April.
Yeah, she was working at finding a job. I mean, she
Yeah.
was really applying every day in
And
her field.
the
It
government
just
jobs in that field were not hiring, so it was tough. And then but so that year from April till from that December till basically the
May
next
May
April.
or June is when she moved back to West Virginia for the um, social worker kind of position.
Yep. So that next year, her and I had a lot to catch up on, a lot, because I wasn't the same dad that
She,
was there when she left.
yeah, no, you weren't.
A lot had changed, and so in this transition, preparing my fields. I had a good base foundation with the kid with the other two, to where I can be raw and I can be honest and I can be look at the other side of every situation and how does this ultimately in 5 years going to affect you, kind of thing, with the drama and the
That's
teenage
still
BS.
your struggle. Your
Yes,
struggle is still you're talking to girls and you're a burly guy.
yes, and that is, oh my goodness, that's terrible. But anyway, that's life. And so the oldest one and have we're not on the same playing field as I am with the other two, but we also have overcome a lot in
Yeah.
that. And when we found out what was going on, she was in the middle of something very important, training wise, for her to get the job she's in now, which is what she wanted to begin with. So she was like, "I'm coming home." I was like, "What are you gonna do?" And so she was like, "Well, I can't focus." I'm like, "It's not your choice. This has nothing to do with you. You are capable of finishing your task. Let me fight this." And it took her a minute, quite a bit, and I kind of had to lay it on line. I was like, "If you come home, I'm kicking you out," kind of thing, and which I wouldn't have, but I told her I would. Kind of give her that sass that she was missing and needed, and reassurance that I may be frail at this point in time and can't hold a thought, but I'm still going to whip her.
Right.
But uh,
But no, I think you've taken on, and part of it's necessity. Part of it is, now that I am working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and still finishing school,
yeah,
there's not a lot of mom left for the
and
daily stuff.
yep, and we've gotten some. We got a few things that's going on, kind of distant, and but still very close to home. And that's it's scary. What that news is, and we're in this part we don't know. We're waiting on testing for somebody else and somebody close to us. And I'm at this point where I wanna do as much as I can more for this individual than what they did for me, and they did what they could, and I want to do that, and I want to be there, and I want to, but I can't. I mean, right now the doctor's appointments are like an hour away, and that's outside my driving zone. On the highway, it's outside of my comfort zone. I'm good for about a 15-20 minute ride, an hour's tops, like close to
One
the top,
way.
one way.
One way.
An hour one way is close to my top. So I'm working on that. I'm working on trying to be more active and doing more things, and instead of and changing the mindset of I don't feel like doing that today. I'd be like, why aren't you doing that? And trying to, okay, well, I said a cup of coffee and that was a pot and a half ago. So we need to go.
Yeah.
Take it with you. And I do. And believe me, I take my coffee with me. And but it's changing, and then it's like, okay, am I really tired? And this is one thing that got me with eating was, am I really hungry or am I bored? Am I really tired or am I bored? And there's like the 2 days I was outside working, and I mean I had my stuff on and all that, and doing stuff, and I was constantly busy. I was on my feet, moving, and then I'd take a little rest, read a chapter, a few pages in my book. I'm still reading the Cancer and Bigfoot
Mm-hmm.
um, book, and that's a real good one. But I'm finding lately that's what I need to do. We got the all clear a month ago, and what he said was unremarkable,
Yes, unremarkable.
which me and unremarkable have never gone in the same sentence until that moment.
You can be as unremarkable as you want to be.
Yes. Yes, I think we're going to get that put in a t-shirt,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make
like
make it.
a ribbon, and then
Mhm.
it says unremarkable.
Mhm.
I think that'd be a good shirt. But um, I lost it. So we got to keep. I'm trying to keep moving so I can be that I can be there when I need to be.
And I'm really letting you take it. I'm like, you know what? Your turn.
Yeah,
Your turn.
and
I've done this,
and
and
so like we were talking about the roles being reversed. I mean, she went from basically a part-time job because your schedule was so flex.
well, that
She hadn't worked a
and it came back from it hadn't come back from COVID yet.
right where
Because
she was at
I
was
took a lot of time off to make sure we could educate the kids who were at home,
yep.
and
So
then it just never picked up after COVID, and then you got sick.
where I
Boom,
was
boom, boom.
my job was the breadwinner to yeah, I'm not doing that. I mean, I can't even focus on two pots on the stove at one time.
Right?
I mean, I really can't. I really can't. I was trying to boil water and do dishes, and as crazy as it sounds, I mean, I had to forget that I was boiling water
Mhm.
so I could finish doing dishes. Then I could turn around and see what was going on there.
Right.
And doing dishes, I'm not a dishwasher guy. I wash them by hand, so that makes it even takes an even longer process. And so my water was ready to go. Like I just at one point I shut it off and focused on just washing the dishes. And but you know that's all the brain stuff. I mean it's coming, and I have to remind myself where the oncologist said, "Dude, you've had," or no, it was the brain guy said you've had three traumatic injuries to your brain,
Mhm.
and you're like, what?
And quickly, they were
Yes,
in succession. I mean, it wasn't you had time to heal between the next one. No.
yeah. He's like, you had the tumor, which had to make space and grow inside your skull to your brain.
Yeah, it was compressing your brain cells because it didn't grow in the brain. It grew like on the brain and kind of mushed your brain matter
Yes.
so it had space.
So
Took up that
basically,
space.
yeah, it'd be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know
It was like a
analogy.
bubble. It was like a bubble in between your brain and your skull. That shouldn't have been there.
Then I had radiation,
Mhm.
3 rounds of radiation. Then I had the brain surgery.
Mhm.
So he's like, if you get confused and vocabulary is really hard for me, like trying to, I'll get stuck on a word or I lose train of thought. That happens. He said that could be your new norm. Whatever. Basically, as long as you're not, you know, peeing your pants and you know you're able to go to the bathroom by yourself, thumbs up. Unless it's that same thing, like so when I get anxiety or nervous or anxious or whatever, it my mind goes back to default mode,
Uh huh.
which was prior to well would have been tumor mode,
Mhm.
and you know where I can start getting some of those.
Pseudo symptoms.
Yes, I would have never came up with that word, but so that happened. So that part's that's the hard part is I'm not the same guy that I was. I mean,
No.
and that's been kind of hard. Like me, hanging out with my buddy was great, and where he is in his life and where I'm at in mine, we're nowhere close to where we were then.
Well, no, I
It's
mean, and
great.
that's growth.
No,
Yeah, that's just growth.
it's not a bad thing by any means, but it's hard. It was hard. I was really nervous, and then he blew my mind, and I was like, "What? Are you serious?" Because I've been holding on to all this kind of like as a hindrance to our friendship.
Hmm.
As silly as it sounds, as stupid as it
And you
sounds.
know what? He doesn't see it like that at all.
No, he laughs about it, and then he's like, to know this story and his side of the story, which was completely different than mine.
It was not. It was a blip, and you made it big.
So he goes to see where you was at 20 years ago with that, and then now you're a barbecue certified barbecue judge. Would have never guessed it.
Right.
He goes, I'd have never saw it. I was like, I don't remember the night that he's talking about. I vaguely like I said, the only thing I remember is eating dinner. That I don't even think we had taters. I think the only thing I remember is that slicing into that steak. But in my head, the way he had the cooker was completely wrong. The
His punishment.
his
We'll call it
punishment was
that. That was
completely
wrong.
wrong. Yeah, because when
His
he's
view
telling
of
me
it's wrong.
when he
He's
was
wrong with what you
telling me
thought.
about it, I was like, well, that's not so bad. I mean, I do that with my drums all the time. Well, not all the time. Whenever they're jacked up, which is usually when I loan them out. Don't loan your drums out to anybody. Anyway, so that's really blowing my mind, and I'm gonna be stuck on that for a while.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I have a vivid picture of what this thing looked like
Hmm.
and where it was in their yard, and
And it was all wrong.
he's like, no, it wasn't there. I said, yeah, it was. No. So anyway, uh, we kind of rambled on, but we'll be doing some. I know I'll be doing some YouTube cooks for using black seasoning and making my own black rub, and doing some stuff like that to try to bring some awareness. Um, I did have a guy on Instagram who's in Australia, and I met him through posting on Instagram about my treatment, and he's going through melanoma himself, and he just got diagnosed the second round. He just got diagnosed for the second round. So, uh, but I don't know. I forgot. I don't know where I was going.
How about we close this down? We have a few more things we have to get done this evening.
Yep. So we will we'll reconvene next week, and well, what is next?
Maybe we'll do some melanoma facts.
Yep. So next week we will, because that'll be the cusp of melanoma month.
Mhm.
Because I think Saturday's the 29th. So yeah, we should be. It should be beginning of May.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll try to be more prepared.
Maybe. I don't like to promise things I can't deliver.
Yeah.
Like this is after I've worked all day and I've been up since like I got up about 4:30 this morning. I couldn't sleep anymore.
Yeah.
So
So